I was cleaning one of my hand-carved dovetail joints when Elena walked into the garage with that look on her face. The one where I already knew I wasn't gonna like what came out of her mouth. "Sam," she said, standing just inside the door. "I want you to think about selling your tool collection." I turned around, rag still in my hand. "What?" She looked dead serious. "Scott needs a house. You've got over $1 million sitting in this garage." I blinked at her like she'd just suggested we sell one of our kidneys. "You want me to sell my tools? To buy your brother a house?" "That's not what I'm saying," she said, voice softening like that would somehow help. "I'm saying it's a smart solution. He's struggling, Sam. He's family." "No. Hell no. My name's Sam Walker. I'm 34, and I live just outside Nashville. I manage big construction projects for a living, but my real love's in custom home building. Every one of those antique hand tools sitting in my garage, hundreds of them, was either bought, restored, or passed down to me. Some came from my dad's shop, back when I was a kid shadowing him through sawdust clouds and the smell of pine. Those tools aren't decorations. They're a damn legacy. Quick note. Before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. I stepped back, staring at her like I didn't even recognize the woman I married. "Elena, Scott's blown through every job he's had in the past 10 years. He can't hold down a job at a gas station, and now you want me to sell what I've built my life around. For him?" Her arms crossed, lips tightening. "You're being dramatic." "No," I said. "I'm being realistic. This collection, these tools, this is everything I've worked for. You know that." "I know you love them," she said, eyes watering. "But maybe it's time to think about someone else." I swallowed hard. My chest felt like it had caved in. I could still picture my dad's hands showing me how to use a spokeshave when I was 10. Every tool in this garage had a story, a fingerprint, a memory. But Elena didn't seem to care. "I thought we were partners," I said. "I thought you respected what I do." "I do," she said, voice cracking. "But Scott's drowning, Sam. You're the only one who can help." She wasn't asking. Not really. Her tone said it all. This was a demand wrapped in desperation. She stood there waiting, and for the first time in our marriage, I had no idea what to say to her. I walked past her and shut off the shop light. My hand trembled when I hit the switch. I didn't sleep that night. I lay there with my back to Elena, staring at the ceiling, feeling like someone had just asked me to burn my own house down for insurance money that wasn't even mine. By the time morning came, I was already halfway to pissed. She followed me into the kitchen while I made coffee, acting like we were just gonna have a normal Thursday. "So," she started, leaning against the counter like we were talking about weekend plans, "did you think about what I said?" I didn't look at her. "Yeah, I thought about how insane it is." Her smile dropped. "Sam, come on. He's my brother." "No. He's a grown man who's never held a job longer than 6 months. He's not 15. He's 36. Elena. What does he need a house for when he can't even pay rent?" She raised her voice. "Because he needs stability. He needs a fresh start. And we're in a position to help him." "We," I said, turning to face her. "No. You want to help him. I'm the one with something to lose." "Oh my God," she muttered, rubbing her forehead. "It's always about your damn tools." "They're not just tools," I snapped. "They're my business, my passion, my dad's legacy. That collection is worth more than just money to me. And even the money, it's not like I can just get it back once it's gone." She crossed her arms. "So you're saying your precious little toys matter more than helping someone in my family who's drowning?" "Don't do that," I warned. She kept going. "You know what this looks like? It looks like you care more about piles of wood and steel than people." I stared at her. "Scott's not people. He's a walking excuse." Her jaw dropped. "That's cruel." "No, it's honest. He's burned through 2 marriages, 5 jobs, and 3 apartments in the last 5 years. And now you want me to reward that by handing him a house?" She didn't say anything at first. Then she stepped closer and said, "You make good money. You've got the tools, the skills, the reputation. He's got nothing. That makes you the one in a position to fix this." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So just because I've worked my ass off to build something, I'm supposed to throw it all away for someone who's never lifted a finger for himself? It's not throwing it away. It's helping someone. It's what family does. I slammed my mug down on the counter. No. What family does is show up. What family doesn't do is screw up their life and expect a handout every time it crashes down around them. She looked like I'd slapped her. So that's it? You'd rather keep your stupid collection than help the person I love? I lowered my voice. This collection is who I am. You knew that when you married me. She blinked hard. Well, maybe I thought love meant sometimes sacrificing for each other. It does, I said. But not like this. Not when the sacrifice is everything I've built. She turned away, shaking her head, tears forming. You don't get it. You never really got it. He's not just my brother, he's all I've got left. My parents care more about him than me half the time. I'm just trying to keep this family from falling apart. I leaned against the sink, chest tight. I wanted to comfort her. I did. But something in me couldn't bend that far. So now it's my job to hold your family together? She looked at me over her shoulder. Maybe it is. Maybe you're the only one strong enough to do it. She walked out of the room before I could answer. I stood in the kitchen for a long time after she left. My coffee went cold. My chest felt like it had a cinder block on it. That night I didn't sleep. Couldn't. I lay awake while Elena snored soft on her side. Like nothing was wrong. My mind wouldn't shut off. I kept picturing those tools in the garage. The Stanley planes. The rosewood handles. My dad's old hand drill. Every piece had a purpose. Every one of them earned. And I kept hearing Elena's voice in my head, telling me to sell them, to fix someone else's life with everything I'd built. By 3 a.m., I was done just lying there. I got up, pulled on jeans, and went out to the garage. I flicked on the overhead light and just stood there, surrounded by a lifetime of work. She wasn't gonna stop. I saw that now. And if I didn't do something soon, I might wake up one day and find my entire world boxed up and gone. So I made a decision. The next day, I left work early and drove over to an industrial part of town near Franklin. Found a storage facility with top-tier security, gated, climate-controlled, cameras everywhere. I told the manager I was storing custom woodworking gear and needed total privacy. He didn't ask questions. Took my cash and handed over the keys. Then I made calls. Quiet ones. I knew a guy who ran a discreet transport service, mostly old muscle cars and custom bikes. I told him I had some heavy equipment to move and didn't want it noticed. He said no problem, cash only. That night I waited until Elena went to bed. I parked the truck in the alley behind the garage and loaded up 5 crates. Only the smaller pieces. No lights, no noise. I covered everything with blankets and strapped it tight. When I got to the unit and opened that steel roll-up door, it hit me. I was hiding from my own wife. Still, when I stepped inside and placed the first crate down, I felt something I hadn't felt in days. Relief. Every night that week, I did the same thing. Waited for Elena to sleep. Moved a few more crates. Slow, quiet, methodical. Each trip lightened the garage but made the house feel heavier. I started noticing how little we talked. She'd cook dinner. I'd wash up. Small talk, nothing real. She didn't mention the tools again, like she was waiting me out. But by the 3rd night, my side of the bed felt like a different planet. I caught myself watching her more. Not in a sweet, romantic way. In a who are you kind of way. I remembered when we first bought this house. She told me she loved watching me work out in the garage. Said I looked happiest with a chisel in my hand. Now, that same garage had become a battlefield. By the end of the week, everything was gone. Every last piece packed, labeled, and locked away in that storage unit. I stood in the middle of the empty garage and felt like I just stripped out part of my soul and buried it underground. But I also felt safer. I wasn't gonna let anyone take this from me. Not even her. I was standing in the kitchen rinsing off a plate when I heard the garage door creak open. The real one inside the house. I froze. Elena stepped in, eyes scanning the room like she already knew something was off. Her gaze landed on the empty wall where my tool racks used to hang. She didn't say anything at first, just walked in and stared. Then her voice dropped low. Where are they? I shut off the faucet and dried my hands. Does it matter? Her face twisted. Are you serious right now? They're safe. She marched up to me, arms tight across her chest. You moved them without telling me? I had to, I said. I didn't feel like I had a choice. You had every choice, Sam. You just didn't want to do the right thing. I stepped back, trying to stay calm. The right thing for who? For Scott? For your parents? What about what's right for me? She didn't blink. You're being selfish. No, I said. I'm protecting something that matters to me. You know what those tools mean. You know what I've built with them. She threw up her hands. And what has Scott built, huh? Nothing. That's the whole point. He's never had anyone show up for him. You think I don't see the way our family looks at me? Like I'm the one who made it while he's always falling apart? You don't think that gets to me? I sighed. That's not mine to fix, Elena. She pointed at me, voice sharp. You don't get it. This isn't just about Scott. It's about whether you actually give a damn about my family. About me. I met her eyes. I do. But I won't be guilted into giving up everything I love for someone who doesn't even try. She shook her head, blinking fast. You're unbelievable. You think I like asking you for this? You think I haven't been holding my breath every day wondering if this marriage means enough to you to sacrifice for it? I looked at her, heart pounding. You're asking me to trade my life's work for your brother's next mess. Her voice cracked. I'm asking you to show me that I matter more than a bunch of wood and steel. My hands curled into fists at my sides. That's not what this is, and you know it. She took a shaky breath and stepped closer. Then tell me this. Do you love me enough to help me save my family? Do you love me enough to let go of something for the sake of something bigger? I didn't answer right away. Couldn't. My throat was tight, and my chest felt like it was splitting open. Elena! No. She cut me off. Don't Elena me. I need a real answer. I need to know if this is where we end. I looked at her and realized what was coming before she even said it. She took a step back, arms trembling. If you don't sell those tools, if you don't help Scott, then I don't know if I can stay with you. Silence. Just her breathing hard, face flushed, and me standing there like I'd just been hit with a truck. You're really gonna throw our marriage on the line for this? I asked, voice barely above a whisper. She nodded. I already have. She didn't wait for a reply. She turned, walked out the front door, and slammed it behind her. I stood in the kitchen, staring at the dented fridge like it could explain how everything just went to hell in 15 minutes. The door slammed behind her, and the house just froze. I didn't chase her, didn't move. I sat down at the kitchen table and stared at the salt shaker like it might give me some kind of answer. By morning, her side of the bed was still untouched. She didn't come back that night, or the next. I kept my distance. I didn't call, didn't text. Part of me wanted to. Part of me felt like I should fight for us. But every time I pictured her face, all I saw was that ultimatum. Sell or lose her. I wasn't ready to forgive that. The text started on day 3. You're still not answering me? So this is who you really are. Don't act surprised when this falls apart. You made your choice. Each one felt like a punch to the gut. But I didn't respond. I didn't have anything left to say that wouldn't just lead us right back to the same fight. The silence in the house got heavier by the hour. I'd walk into the kitchen, still half expecting to hear her humming while she made coffee. I'd open the fridge and see the little almond milk cartons she bought and feel like I was living with a ghost. I started sleeping on the couch, not because I had to, but because I couldn't stomach lying in that bed alone. One night, I texted my buddy Ray from the job site and asked if he was around. We met up at Casey's Diner off Old Hickory. Greasy burgers, paper menus, and country music low on the speakers. A couple other guys from work showed up too. We didn't talk about anything deep, just sports and weather and how the site foreman couldn't measure for crap. But it was the first time I'd laughed in over a week. Then Ray looked at me sideways over his coffee. You good, man? I paused, shrugged. Not really. He didn't press. just nodded. Sometimes that's all you need. Someone to sit with you in the wreckage and not ask for a damn thing. Later that night, I sat in my truck outside the house and just stared at the porch light. It was off. And it hit me. I didn't even recognize my own life anymore. I'd been building everything around other people's wants, expectations, demands. Trying to be the good husband, the dependable one, the guy who never says no. But in doing that, I'd started losing the one thing that actually made me me. The next morning, I got a call. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. Then I checked it. Hey Sam. This is Dale over at the Middle Tennessee Carpenters Guild. Heard your name from a client. We've got a project we think you'd be perfect for. Historical home restoration. Full custom interior. Give me a call. I just sat there, phone in my lap, staring out the window. For the first time in weeks, something felt right. I called Dale back that afternoon and said I was in. He sounded pumped. Said they'd send plans over that night. About 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I let it ring, but then I saw the voicemail pop up. It was Elena's mom. Hi Sam. I think it's time we talk. Can you come by the house this evening? Just for a little while. I should have ignored it. I should have deleted it and gone on with my day. But I didn't. I showed up at her parents' house around 7. Pulled into the driveway, heart already racing. I hadn't seen any of them since the blow-up with Elena. Her mom opened the door like she'd been waiting. Come in, honey. I stepped inside, and immediately it felt like walking into a trap. Elena's dad was sitting on the couch in a polo shirt and slacks like he was about to give a lecture. Elena wasn't there, but her aunt was. So was her older cousin, the one who always tried to act like a therapist at Thanksgiving. Her dad patted the chair across from him. Sit down, son. I sat, back stiff. He got right to it. We've heard what's going on between you and Elena, and frankly, we're disappointed. Her mom chimed in, tone sweet but sharp. It's not about money, Sam. It's about values. About family. I nodded slowly. You're all here to convince me to sell the tools, aren't you? No one's forcing you, her cousin said. Fake casual. We just think you've lost sight of what matters. What matters to who? I shot back. Because what matters to me clearly doesn't matter to any of you. Her dad leaned forward. Look, I've been married 41 years. You think I haven't made sacrifices for my wife? Being a man means doing hard things. Even when it's unfair. Even when you don't want to. I clenched my jaw. Being a man also means knowing when someone's taking advantage of you. Her mom gasped like I'd cursed in church. This isn't about you, Sam. This is about keeping this family together. Scott needs help, and we don't turn our backs on family. I let out a bitter laugh. Except when it's convenient. You'll ever stop to ask how I feel in all this? Or is that off the table because I'm not blood? You're acting like you're the victim, her aunt said. But you've got money, skills, options. Scott doesn't. Yeah, and why is that? I snapped. Why does Scott have nothing? Because every time he screws up, someone rushes in to clean it up for him. Maybe the reason he never grows is because he never has to. Her dad pointed a finger at me. You think you're better than him because you have some fancy tools and a business? You're not. You're just lucky you had a father who taught you something. Scott didn't. That's not his fault. My voice dropped. Don't talk about my dad. He backed off, but the damage was done. Her mom stepped in like she could patch it up. We're just asking you to be part of the solution. You married into this family. That means something. I stood up. Yeah, it means I married Elena. Not all this dysfunction. Her cousin looked up at me, eyes narrowed. You know, the way you're acting. It's like you're not even part of this family. I stared at her. Right now, I don't feel like I am. Nobody spoke. I walked out without another word. I didn't go home after leaving Elena's parents' house. I just drove. No music. No destination. Just silence and headlights. By the time I pulled into the driveway, I'd made up my mind. The next morning, I found a law office downtown that handled small business and asset protection. Nothing flashy, brick building, simple logo, old school receptionist with a paper calendar. Perfect. The lawyer's name was Dennis Caldwell. Mid-50s, sharp as hell, didn't waste time. He leaned back in his chair, listening while I laid it all out. The tools, the marriage, the pressure. When I finished, he nodded slowly. "You've got a unique situation, Mr. Walker, but it's not unmanageable." "What can I do?" I asked. "I need to make sure no one touches that collection. Not her, not her brother, not anyone." He tapped his pen against the desk. "First, we're going to set up a limited liability company, LLC, in your name. That'll give your collection legal separation from your personal assets. We'll register it as a business inventory and document everything as part of your professional operations." "So it's mine, but it's also a company's?" "Exactly. Your company's. As long as you keep your records clean and store the collection securely, it'll be off-limits in any personal dispute, including a divorce." I sat back in the chair, heart pounding a little less. "And what about storage?" He raised an eyebrow. "You're not keeping them at home anymore?" "Hell no." He smirked. "Smart move. We'll update the paperwork to reflect commercial storage. Just make sure the facility keeps logs and insurance. If anyone tries to question it, we've got full documentation." I signed the forms that day. LLC registration, asset transfer, inventory list. Took hours, but I didn't care. Every signature felt like a brick in a wall I should have built months ago. When I got home, I called the storage manager and told him I needed to upgrade. He walked me through their highest security option, biometric access, cameras, temp control, the whole deal. I paid for a year up front. Then I bought a burner phone and locked it in the unit, just in case I ever needed to be in touch with the transport guy again without using my regular line. It wasn't just paranoia. It was insurance. I wasn't playing defense anymore. By the end of the week, the LLC was official, the collection was protected, and for the first time in weeks, I could breathe without feeling like someone was standing on my chest. I still didn't know where things with Elena were headed. She hadn't come home. I hadn't called. But I knew this: if she ever tried to come after the tools again, she wouldn't get far. What I'd built with my own two hands was mine now. On paper. In practice. In court, if it came to that. And the crazy thing was, I didn't feel like I was betraying her. I felt like I was finally protecting myself. She came back on a Sunday night like a storm blowing through. I heard the front door slam while I was in the garage, sharpening one of my backup chisels. The real collection was long gone, but I still kept a few tools around to keep my hands moving. "Sam!" Her voice echoed through the house. Tight. Angry. I wiped the blade clean, stood up, and walked in. She was already in the living room, coat still on, face red and jaw clenched. "Where are they?" she snapped. I didn't answer right away. I just stood there, hands at my sides, calm on the outside. "You moved them," she said, stepping closer. "You didn't just hide them, you got rid of them. Where the hell are my brother's chances, Sam? What the hell did you do?" I kept my voice level. "They're not your brother's chances. They're mine, and they're safe." She blinked fast, like she couldn't believe I was still standing my ground. "So this is it? You're just gonna pretend our marriage means nothing? That you don't owe me anything?" "Owe you," I said. "I've given you everything I could without tearing myself apart." "You lied to me," she shouted. "You went behind my back, moved them in the middle of the night, like I'm some kind of threat." I didn't flinch. "Because you were." That shut her up. For half a second. Then she stepped forward again, pointing a finger in my face. "You know what, Sam? You've made this about tools and pride and control. But all I asked, was that you help someone I love. That you prove this marriage wasn't just about you. And all I asked," I shot back, "was that you not treat me like a damn ATM for your brother's failures." Her face twisted. "You think I don't know what this is really about? You'd rather hold on to your little collection than save this family. You love those damn tools more than me." I didn't yell. I didn't take the bait. "No," I said. "I love myself enough to stop letting people walk all over me. I love my father enough to protect what he passed down. I love the craft that built our house, paid our bills, and gave me purpose. That's what I love. And you've made it clear none of that matters to you." She scoffed. Don't spin this around like I'm the villain. You drew the line, I said. You gave the ultimatum. You pushed me into a corner, Elena, and I'm done standing in it. Her eyes narrowed. So where are they? They're protected, I said calmly. Legally, financially, stored under my company's name in a facility that you'll never get access to. They're not going anywhere. And neither am I. She stared at me, breathing hard. You planned this? Yeah. After your family ambushed me in your parents' living room and tried to shame me into being the scapegoat for Scott's mess? I planned it. You're unbelievable, she whispered. No, I said. I'm finally clear. I'm done solving other people's problems. Scott is not my responsibility. Your parents' version of family unity isn't my job to maintain. I built a life, Elena, from nothing. I'm not going to destroy it because they're too scared to admit he's beyond saving. She folded her arms, voice lower now. So what? You're just going to throw away our whole marriage for some vintage hand tools? I shook my head. No. I'm saying if you can't live with the fact that I chose to protect something that matters to me, if you need me to destroy part of myself just to prove I love you, then yeah, maybe we don't have a marriage worth saving. She stood there, frozen. For once, no words. I didn't marry you to become a martyr, I said. And if that's the only version of love you're willing to accept, then maybe you've never really known me at all. She looked at the floor, then the wall, then back at me. I can't believe this is happening, she muttered. Believe it, I said. I'm not moving, and the tools aren't either. So if that's your line in the sand, we're already on opposite sides. She grabbed her bag without another word and walked toward the door. I didn't follow, didn't call her back, didn't need to. The door clicked shut behind her, and this time it stayed that way. No texts, no calls, no apology, just silence. It hit harder than I expected. I thought I'd feel free, like I'd finally escaped the weight of all the noise and pressure. But instead, the house just felt hollow. I didn't clean out the closet. I didn't touch her stuff. I just kept moving. I poured myself into the restoration job Dale gave me. The place was a 100-year-old craftsman out in Leaper's Fork. Original trim, carved banisters, the kind of work that reminded me why I picked up a chisel in the first place. I'd be there at sunup, sleeves rolled, tools humming, with shavings under my boots before I even knew what time it was. And people started noticing. Word spread, Sam Walker was doing legacy work again. A couple designers reached out. One even asked if I'd partner on a boutique remodel down in Chattanooga. Then came Lauren. She showed up on site with a client from the Carpenters Guild. Wore work boots and talked about tenon joints like most people talk about football. We ended up talking shop for 2 hours straight. Next thing I knew, she was sketching beam designs on napkins over coffee. No games, no drama, just two people who loved the same thing and spoke the same language. We started taking jobs together, each one bigger than the last. Clients noticed the chemistry, and the business picked up fast. And through all of it, I never once had to explain why the tools mattered. One night, after finishing a custom mantle install, she looked at me across the truck hood and said, "You build things like you're building for someone you miss." I didn't say anything, just nodded, because she wasn't wrong. I'd spent years trying to hold together a version of life that looked good on the outside but hollowed me out from the inside. Now I was building for me. Each project brought me further from that heavy silence, closer to something that felt like peace. The guilt faded. The noise disappeared. And when I stepped into my storage unit and opened those crates, smelling the aged wood, running my hand across steel and rosewood, I didn't feel like I was hiding anymore. I felt like I'd taken it all back. My work, my freedom, my damn life.